Welcome to the morning after CFL Week 4 edition on the CFFL Network on YouTube. Today we're going to have a pretty packed show, so let's get into in the week of the CFFL and see what all happened. Big game this week saw Team LBM take on the Bone Storm, 3-0 versus 2-1. Team LBM pulled out the upset of the week as they were a 37-point underdog. Apparently ESPN thought the Bone Storm were playing the Jaguars. They won 54-52. Victor Cruz, 15 points again, a big week, led him over the Bone Storm. The only one for the Bone Storm who really had a good week was Peyton Manning. They fall to 2-2, but another good showing as they are the top scoring team though in the league. But the Bone Storm or the LBM are right behind them in second with points. Next up, we had the Brother Bowl, the Holzbauer Bowl, as the Sasquatches take down the Garbage Men 92-90. The two highest scoring teams this week unfortunately played each other. And both teams' running backs had good weeks, as shown by 34 points for the Sasquatches and 22 for the Garbage Men. But that was enough to carry the Sasquatches to the win. Drew Brees, another huge week with 26 points. Just massive showing, but not enough for the Garbage Men as they fall to 1-3. Also this week we saw a rematch of last year's Super Bowl, Super Bowl 19, as the Cardinals knocked off the Badgers 78-44. Jimmy Graham and Torrey Smith carried the Cardinals, combining for 33 points. Badgers, only one position had over double figures, and that was the Colts defenses. They had 12. Super Bowl hangover? Yeah, I would say so. Badgers could be in really deep trouble as they fall to 0-4. The Kongs took down the Black Dingoes 64-51 as battle of 2-1s. Kongs this year moved to 3-1 now. Tony Gonzalez, who has struggled most of the year, really came through with 20 points. The Black Dingoes had a huge showing from Tom Brady and Wes Welker as they combined for 30 points, but not enough as they fall to 2-2. The Gargoyles take down the Horn Dogs 86-71. Griff's Gargoyles were led by Des Bryant and Greg Jennings with 32 points combined. Alex Smith, the bye-week fill-in, just signed Sunday morning, had 18 points, but not enough as the Horn Dogs fall to 2-2. Both teams are now 2-2 and are right outside the playoff picture looking in. Finally, we saw the 0-3 Donkeys take down the 3-0 Bruisers in the biggest upset in terms of win-loss record this week. Dan's Donkeys complained last week of poor managerial skills after a couple-year hiatus from the league. Really had a strong showing this week as he plugged in Nate Washington, and he had 18 points in a very surprising showing. He takes down the Bruisers, who were led by Matt Ryan at 18 points. Always consistent Matt Ryan. But the Bruisers do fall to 3-1. They do have a big matchup this week, and we'll talk about that a little later. Right now, let's get into the awards section. Like I said, we have a busy week, so we're going to jump right into it. Should be able to guess who it is. Surprise, surprise, it's Drew Brees. Second straight week, 26 points, 2 straight weeks, 413 yards, 4 touchdowns as he shredded the Dolphins. So many weapons on that offense, and they are not afraid to keep passing even if they're ahead by 20 points. And they do like to throw near the goal line, too. And Darren Sproles had a huge showing this week. Black Dingoes had like that even though they're on his bench. But a good showing there for him. Time for Yo Bitch. We see the free agent pickup of the week this week. It's getting a little harder now, and we're in week 4. But Brian Hoyer, 13 points this week. Good showing last week. 269 yards, 2 touchdowns. If someone needs a bye week fill-in, he could be the guy. At this point, realistically, the top free agent target could be a kicker or defense if someone has someone off. Next up, take a look at the Walk of Shame. No one had an awful week, but it's the same old in Oakland. It's Darren McFadden injured his hamstring. 5 carries, 29 yards, 1 point. Injured hamstring. It's not supposed to be super serious, but knowing McFadden, it'll probably be at least 4 or 5 weeks. So that's not good for the Horn Dogs as they lose one of their starting running backs. And last week, when we focused on Griff's gripes, the voice I used was apparently very hard to hear after I recorded it, I listened to it. This week we'll just go with my voice. I'll have to try some things out and maybe find something that works a little better. But here's Griff's gripes, and they're directed at NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue. And it says, Dear Mr. Goodell, please stop the idea that American football should be a global sport. We don't want football in London. The players don't want to play in London. Fortunately, you sent 2 crappy 0-3 teams over there, so Londoners aren't interested in American football either. London is only big enough for one Big Ben, and it's not the one that sexually assaults women in bar bathrooms. Sincerely, the best drafter in the CFFL. So Griff, I don't know, apparently you didn't send that because it was sent by the best drafter in the CFFL. I don't know who sent that, but, good segment again this week, Griff. Whoever did it, you should thank them. It was a good Griff scrape this week. Now let's take a look at the big games in the coming week, week 5 of the CFFL. This week we're going to see a battle of 4-0 versus 3-1 as Team LBM takes on the Bruisers, and we'll also see a rematch of Super Bowls 13, 16, and 17 as the Cardinals take on the Sasquatches in the battle of 2-2 high-scoring teams. One more new segment we're going to try right now is Going Deep, taking a look at each division, strengths, weaknesses of the teams, where they might need to make a trade, where they have people to trade, where they have strength to trade from. Then after we're done with that, in a couple of weeks, we'll take a look at MVPs and also best and worst draft picks at the midway point. But since we're at the quarterway, let's take a look at the Dan division, which of course is being led by Chad. So we'll start with Chad. Team LBM need running back really, really badly. Monty Ball and Ahmad Bradshaw. Bradshaw's at number 2, and they gave a first-round pick for Richardson, so he's going to get most of the work. Really not a whole lot of depth there at all. But he's 4-0, so if it's not broke, don't fix it. Why is he 4-0? Take a look at that wide receivers. Brandon Marshall, Calvin Johnson, Victor Cruz. Awesome 3 receivers. And also some decent flex guys you can throw in there. Alshon Jeffrey, Sidney Rice, Antonio Holmes. Make them a pretty solid team. Next up, we got DK's Kongs. His needs, possibly a receiver. Eric Decker, been pretty decent, but Vincent Jackson has been streaky. Brendan Davis has been streaky, and Tony Gonzalez has been non-existent up to this week. But 20 points this week makes it possible that he could be coming around. Depth for Dan to trade from. He's got some good running back depth. Frank Gore, Alfred Morris, good starters. And then he's got guys like Kendall Hunter and Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell had one good week, so it's hard to say it's going to go, but that's not too bad for him at all. Next up, Griff's Gargoyles, who need-wise don't have a whole lot of needs, so good job drafting, Griff. Flex position probably could be upgraded a little bit in wide receiver 2. Josh Gordon, James Jones, who is going to be streaky because which Packer receivers are going to be this week, it's hard to say. Could probably be upgraded, but it's not, a dire need. And flex, Joey Bell, Ryan Matthews, Ryan Matthews doesn't score, and Joey Bell, as long as Reggie Bush keeps performing like he is, he's going to be limited. And his strength to trade from, running backs. Arian Foster is coming around. DeMarco Murray is playing great because he's healthy. Ryan Matthews is an okay, bye week fill-in flex. Joey Bell's been solid when he plays, and Bryce Brown has got some potential. And finally, we'll take a look at Dan's Donkeys. A need running back 2. The Jaguars are miserable. Mojo started out miserably. And depth, he's got a lot of good receivers, a lot of number 2 receivers, 3s. Antonio Brown, Randall Cobb, Dwayne Bowe, Julian Edelman, Lance Moore, Nate Washington. And 2 3s, flexes, all not too bad. So there we have our show this week. Hope you enjoyed it. We will get back to you next week. Our investigative reporter is still out in the field. She should be back very shortly with her big story. And it's almost like it's ESPN 30 for 30 on what happened with that race back in the day. So we'll see you guys later, and hope you had a good week. Good luck this week, except for Josh. I'm taking you down. Thanks. Bye.